of man physically has continued to decrease all the way up into our time. And this is due to sin. This is due to the sins that the human being created, that we sin.
It's not only the sins, because even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was shorter. This is the wisdom.
Was what?
Was shorter than Adam alayhi salam. Alayhi salam. But I think there is wisdom about that. Because Adam's structure in this very huge, it was needed at that time.
Mm-hmm.
If we think about the beginning of the earth at that time, and how much the human was struggling to walk, he needs to be tall, he needs to be fast. Now we don't need that. Now the world is...
We don't need that?
No. Now we have transportation, we have many things. But in the beginning it was very difficult, and this huge structure was very needed.
I respectfully disagree. Respectfully. I mean, alhamdulillah, I mean, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But as we have hadith that justify that the stature of man begin to decrease because of the sin that we commit. This is a punishment. This is not by design. This is a punishment. ما نزل البلاء إلا بالذنوب وما رفع إلا بالتوبة. That affliction has not come to man except due to the sins that he commits. And the affliction is not lifted until the man repents. So any affliction that comes to the human being in our lives is due to the sins that we commit. Not necessarily because it's necessary. I mean, when you look at, what we have, and I'm not going to, philosophize this issue, all right? Because we have clear text. And when we have clear text and concrete text, there's no need for us to philosophize, all right? The point that I'm making is that the stature of man went from 90 feet tall to 2.5, 3 feet, 4 feet tall today. When you look at a guy that is a midget, that is 3 feet, 3.5 feet, 4 feet tall, he's a grown man, and he has to spend the rest of his life like that. That is a punishment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, and be aware of the fitna that doesn't just affect the wrongdoers from amongst you. Sin affects everyone. Sin, although that midget, he didn't do anything to deserve that himself. But the sins of mankind that is a reflection of the sins of mankind. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in the Quran that had we not repelled one group of people by way of another, then it would have been much fasad, much corruption in the earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that we cause man to taste of his own iniquity, of his own sin and transgressions. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, so that perhaps they may return back and stop. ظَهَرَ الْفَسَادُ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِي النَّاسِ. That corruption and calamity has appeared on land and on earth, or on land and on sea, because of what the hands of man have put forth. So that is a reflection. I mean, he has to live with that. A man that is born, hasha wa kalla, a man that is born a midget, he doesn't want to live like that. And he looks at, other grown men above him, towering over him, and he has to live with that insecurity. That is a reflection of the sins that mankind has put forward. And so the Prophet ﷺ said that the stature of man has continued to decrease all the way up into our time. قال الشيخ ابن محسن على باب في شرحه لهذا الحديث جمهور أهل السنة على أن الضمير يرجع إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى وأن الله خلق آدم على صورته ويفسرون ذلك بأنه سميع بصير متكلم وإن كان ما يضاف إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى من السمع والبصر والكلام يليق بجلاله سبحانه وتعالى وما يضاف إلى الإنسان من السمع والبصر والكلام ما يليق به الإنسان فهذا هو مشهور عند أهل السنة. Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Abbad, Hafidullah Ta'ala, in his explanation of this hadith, we're talking about Adam being created in the image of Allah. How do we understand that? Allah said, the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah created Adam in his image. Some people try to say, when he said his image, that that damir, that pronoun, is not referring to Allah. It's referring to Adam. That Allah created Adam in Adam's image. That don't even make sense. Don't try to get around or wiggle out of the issue. If you don't understand the hadith, then just simply say, I've never done any research on this. I'll go back and I'll do it. But don't twist and turn the words, all right, to suit your own desires. Shaykh Abdul Muhsin, he said that the damir, the pronoun here, that Allah created Adam in his image, his is a pronoun. The pronoun goes back to Allah. That Allah created Adam in Allah's image. He said, how do we understand that? He said, the scholars, he said, Jamhur Ahl Sunnah. He said, the vast majority of the scholars of Ahl Sunnah, they say that the damir, that the pronoun here is referring to Allah. So there's no difference of opinion in this. So don't say, well, there's a difference of opinion. Some scholars say this, some scholars... No, the scholars who are mu'tabar, the scholars who we acknowledge their understanding and their explanation as the scholars of Ahl Sunnah. He said that the majority, the vast majority of the scholars of Ahl Sunnah are of the opinion that the damir, that the pronoun goes back to Allah. And they explain this by saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Samir. Allah hears. Basir, Allah sees. Wa mutakallim, and Allah speaks. But He hears, He sees, and He speaks in a manner that is consistent or that is dealing with the sublimity and the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't know how Allah sees. We don't know how Allah hears. We don't know how Allah speaks. That is something that yaliqu bi jalalihi, in a manner that is consistent with the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, likewise, the human being hears, sees, and speaks, but in a manner that is consistent with what is, consistent with the human being. So although Adam, the son of Adam, shares in some of the same qualities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, shares in the names of those qualities. We can hear, we can see, we can speak, all right? We get angry, we get happy. Allah gets angry, Allah gets happy. But the characteristics themselves, they differ from creation to creator. They're not the same in terms of the degree of it. They're not the same in terms of the magnitude of it. But they're the same only in name. Only in name. So when Allah created Adam in His own image, meaning Allah gave Adam some of the same qualities that he has, but the qualities differ from creation to creator. Wallah, everybody clear on that? So we don't walk away misinterpreting the hadith? Yes?
There's a similar passage
In the Bible? Yes, absolutely. And that's why many Muslims are afraid to quote the hadith.
And a lot of people, Christians, put the image of Jesus as God because they were saying that Adam was created in the likeness of God. So they take it and go into a whole different explanation. But that explanation leads them to shirk. But this explanation is something that we can understand, we can wrap our heads around. Because if you look at it very closely, as the chef was saying, then it's easy to understand. But if you try to look at it with a different point of view, like the Christians, then this will lead you away into shirk.
And so we don't go too far to the right, and we don't go to the left by ignoring the hadith altogether.
Okay,
we think that it resembles what Christians say.
We got about 10 minutes left on the power bar here.
Tayyib. So this should serve as a reminder of the immense beauty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam with. Inna Allah jamilun wa yuhibbu jamal wa khalaqa al-jamal li'annahu huwa jamil. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beautiful and He loves beauty and He created beauty because He Himself is beautiful subhanahu wa ta'ala. قال ابن إسحاق وكان الله سبحانه وتعالى قد أعطى يوسف من الحسن والهيبة ما لم يعطه أحد من العالمين قبله ولا بعده حتى كان يقال والله أعلم إنه أعطى نصف حسن آدم إلى يوسف وقسم لنصف الآخر بين الناس. Ibn Ishaq, one of the historians of Islam, he said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Prophet Joseph, gave him a level of beauty that he had not given to any other creature before him or after him, except with Adam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Yusuf half of the beauty that he gave Adam. La ilaha illallah. And this is why when Yusuf came out in front of the women, what did they say?
He's a God. He's an angel.
No, they say God.
He's an angel.
He's an angel. ما هذا بشرا إن هذا إلا ملك كريم. They said, this is no man, this is no human being, this is a noble angel. Because he was so beautiful, he was so handsome. When they saw Prophet Yusuf, they began to cut their hands. They began to cut their hands out of amazement. Oh my goodness, this guy is beautiful, handsome. Because Yusuf alayhi salam was given half of the beauty of Adam. If that is what the beauty of Yusuf did to those women, could you only imagine the beauty of Adam? Stay with me, because this is part of, our issue as men. Beauty comes with a price. All right, for all of our handsome young men out there, right? Beauty comes with a price. قال الله تعالى قال ابن القيم رحمه الله تعالى كان إبليس يمر على جسدي يعني آدم ويتعجب منه ثم يدخل من فيه ويخرج من دبره ويقول لئن سلطت عليك لأهلكنك ولئن سلطت علي لأعصينك ولم يعلم أن هلاكه كان على يد آدم. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he said that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam, it was just a body laying there. Allah had not blown the spirit, the soul into him. It was just a body fashioned, laying there. Shaitan used to walk past the body in amazement of how beautiful it was. In amazement. Please stay with me, because this point is very important. Shaitan used to pass by the body, looking at the body and how amazing it was and how beautiful it was. And the Shaitan would enter into Adam through his mouth and come out through his angle as a sign of mockery for how beautiful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam. And Shaitan, he said to Adam as he lays there as a body, he said that if Allah ever gives me authority over you, I will destroy you. If Allah gives me authority over you, I will destroy you. And if Allah gives you authority over me, I will disobey you. I will never follow you. Little did Shaitan know that his destruction would be at the hands of Adam. And it's due to this jealousy that Shaitan works very diligently today to change our creation. The tattooing, the piercing, the destruction of our body. Where do you think this stuff comes from? Absolutely. The piercing, the tattooing, the tucks, the lifts, the additions, the subtractions, the lack of satisfaction with what Allah gave you. Muslim women putting weave in their hair, adding hair to their hair, putting tattoos on their body, putting piercings on their bodies, dissatisfied with the natural way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created you. Where did that desire come from? It came from Shaitan. Listen to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran about Shaitan. وَقَالَ لَأَتَّخِذَنَّ مِنْ عِبَادِكَ نَصِيبًا مَفْرُوضًا وَلَأُضِلَّنَّهُمْ وَلَأُمَنِّيَنَّهُمْ وَلَآمُرَنَّهُمْ فَلَيُبَتِّكُنَّ آذَانَ الْأَنْعَامِ وَلَآمُرَنَّهُمْ فَلَيُغَيِّرُنَّ خَلْقَ اللَّهِ وَمَنْ يَتَّخِذِ الشَّيْطَانَ وَلِيًّا مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ فَقَدْ خَسِرَ خُسْرَانًا مُبِينًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and Shaitan said, that I will take a portion of your servants and I will lead them astray. I will lead them astray. I will create in them false desires. I will command them to slit the ears of cattle, which was a tradition amongst the Arabs. He said, and I will command them to change the creation of Allah. لَآمُرَنَّهُمْ فَلَا يُغَيِّرُونَ خَلْقَ اللَّهِ. I will command them so that they change the creation of Allah. That jealousy, what he saw, that image that he saw of Adam laying on the ground as a body. Today, you look at the way that the human being discards his body. Drawings. You have individuals who have tattoos all over their face. I don't know about Canada, but in America, you have Muslim children that have tattoos on their faces. Born to Muslim parents, mother and father Muslim. Mother and father Muslim. And he has tattoos on his face. Tattoos on his neck. Tattoos, his whole chest, his whole body, covered in tattoos. What does Shaitan say? I will command them so that they change the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Muslim girls, Muslim women with hijab on. And she has piercings in her face. Piercing here, piercing underneath the lip, piercing here, piercing in the nose here. Piercing over top of the eyebrow. Piercings in their faces. Dissatisfied with the creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you. Adding weave in their hair. Dissatisfied with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you. Where did that come from? It came from Shaitan. So as men, there's nothing masculine about putting tattoos on your body. Let me give you something about the tattoos. Tattoos, for a lot of the men, it's an overcompensation for something that you are lacking in as a man. When you are lacking in something as a man, you have to overcompensate for something else. Sometimes we do it with money. Sometimes as a man, we lack certain qualities as a man, so that we shoot high in the corporate ladder to get money, and we have all these materialistic things, nice car, you're driving a Bentley, you got nice polo shoes on, you got this on. You are overcompensating for something that you are lacking. It's not that, oh, I like nice things. Miss me with that. It's not that you like nice things. You are dissatisfied with something about yourself, and you use the materialistic things that you pride yourself on to overcompensate for something that you are missing as a man. That's what we do as men. We drive big cars, we like nice, expensive things, and don't think that that's just because you like nice things. No, you are overcompensating for something that you are lacking in. A lot of it has to do with personality. A lot of it has to do with physical appearances. Physical parts of your body that you are lacking in, that you wish you had, that you don't have, so you overcompensate for something else. When you find a man, he sleeps with this woman, this woman, this woman, this woman. It's not that he likes women and he just sleeps with women. He's overcompensating for something that he's missing in his life.
Do we call it a lack of self-esteem?
Lack of self-esteem, yes, absolutely. Inferiority complex, superiority complex, call it what you want. But it's a deficiency that you have within yourself that you are trying to satisfy with materialistic things. The same thing with the tattoo. The same thing with the tattoo. You have many of these young boys out here who are homosexuals, right? They know that they are not complete men because you're letting another man enter into the back of you. So you go and you get your whole chest tattoo, you get your neck tattoo, you get your face tattoo, because that's the last attempt to hold on to some type of masculinity in front of the world. SubhanAllah, it's a psychological thing. When you see guys with all these tattoos, don't look at that and think that that's manly. There's nothing manly about a man who draws images of women on his body. Who am I referring to, you young guys? Who has an image of a woman on his body?
Plays for the purple and gold.
Huh?
Plays for the purple and gold. The purple and gold team. In LA.
No.
In LA.
Drake.
What, man?
Yeah.
Drake, he has a tattoo of who on his body? He has a tattoo of Aaliyah on his back. The singer Aaliyah, who died some years ago. Huh?
When did that?
Yeah. Tattoo of a woman on your back. You're a man. And you go and get a drawing of a woman's face on your back. There's nothing masculine about that. There's nothing manly about that. There's nothing manly about that. And we have our children, our youth, they look at this stuff and they think that this stuff is, the end all be all. That, I'm going to go get me a tattoo. Muslim children. And we have to understand as Muslims that when you get a tattoo, you are cursed. The person who did the tattooing and the one who got it done, both of them are cursed. So we need to understand that there are repercussions to us engaging in some of the standards of masculinity that are with the kuffar. We have to understand that. Non-Muslim standards are not our standards. We have our own set of standards as Muslims. We don't let human beings dictate to us what being a man is about, especially when half of them don't even know what being a man is all about. Because most of them was raised by single mothers. How you going to teach me how to be a man and you never even had a man in your life? How? Being a man is not something that you learn out of picking up a book. Being a man is something you learn by observational learning, by observing other men. That's how you learn how to be a man. You don't be a man because you watch some TV shows or you pick an image that you want to follow and now you become that individual. The last thing the world needs is another him. If two people are the same, one of you are irrelevant. The last thing the world needs is another you. Be yourself. Stop trying to be somebody else. The last thing the world needs is two yous. Because one of you is irrelevant. So the point that I'm trying to make, brothers, especially for you young guys, is to understand there's nothing masculine about that. That's actually feminine. To put two diamond earrings in your ear. There was a time when I was growing up, in the 80s, I'm an 80s baby, okay? There was a time when we were growing up, you could only have an earring in your left ear. Because to have an earring in your right ear, that meant that you was a homosexual. Nobody had an earring in their right ear. Nobody. I still have the hole in my ear from when I was a kid. It doesn't go anywhere, unfortunately. It's there for life. In my left ear. Yes. That was a standard. Today, you have men who pride themselves on being the man. You got two diamonds in your ear. You look like a woman. You look like my baby sister who, we go get her ears pierced and we put two, pearls in her ear. And you got men walking around with two pearls in their ear. There's nothing masculine about that. Nothing masculine about that. And as Muslims, we have to understand we have our own standards. We don't follow the standards of anybody else. We follow the standards that our religion has set for us.
Sheikh, maybe just with 1 minute left, we're going to...
I can't stop, Sheikh. Please stop me right now.
I gotta plug.
Yeah, I might, might be some psychological problems. You can't suppress this.
Okay.
I suppress this, man. I might have to start having some...
Okay, I got the plug-in.
So we have to maintain our image as men and stop letting the status quo of society define what we should look like under the guise of fashion. You have this metrosexual, type of dress now where men are wearing skinny jeans. Skinny jeans. Wallah al-Azim, you see two slim people, the male and the female walking in the mall, you don't know which one is the male or the female. He wearing his girlfriend jeans. All his jeans is dirty, he borrowed a pair of his girlfriend jeans. And that's no disrespect to any of the Muslim guys that might have more skinny jeans. It's not your fault, man. Y'all products of the society that y'all live in. My job is to just bring it to your attention. Don't take offense to what I'm saying. Because many times we do things out of ignorance, and when we know better, we do better. When we know better, we do better. But, you can only have a certain level of expectation of people who live in a society where these things are being forced on you. Literally, it's almost to the point sometimes where you try to go to the store and buy regular clothes, you can't even find regular clothes anymore. Because they're literally forcing you to buy this stuff. They're forcing you. They're not even giving you an option anymore. Everything is skinny, 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 skinny. Yeah.
Because the skinny suit now, when I was thinking about it, the men's jacket, when I'm growing up, That used to be like the ladies, you know, the ladies' formal wear. She had a little jacket with a little thing. That's how the men look like now.
Yeah.
So it's like, is that a man or a woman? You don't even know. The clothes is the same.
Well, what they're doing is they're trying to erase the lines.
Androgyny, yeah.
Yes. They're erasing the lines, so what they call blur the lines. So there's no more categories, male, female, you know, you can be whatever you want to be. It's your world. It's your world. Be what you want to be, who you want to be, sleep with who you want to sleep with, and don't listen to what nobody says. I recently seen a commercial, it was for the headphones. So the guy is walking past a crowd of people and they're shouting at him and screaming at him. He has the headphones on. And the subliminal message is, hear what you want to hear. That's the message. Hear what you want to hear. Meaning, this is not a commercial for headphones. They're not selling you the headphones. They're selling you a concept. They're selling you an ideology. They're selling you an idea. And that is, don't do what you want to do. Don't pay attention to what other people say about you. This is the message. The subliminal message is what they're selling. But they clothe it in headphones. So when a kid looks at the commercial, they think that there's a commercial for headphones.
But now, if you, like some of the ball players, you got 2 baby mamas, all of a sudden you're a bad guy. So how come you're telling me I can't do it? When I got 2 baby mamas, it's a problem.
So we have to know who the real enemy that is behind what we see happening today. All right? And as Muslims, we shouldn't look at non-Muslims and say, oh, they're stupid, or they're this. They don't know any better. Many of them don't know any better. They're just products of the society in which they live. And it's not our job to look down on people and to frown upon people that are, you know, victims themselves. They're victims. Many of our Muslim children are victims. I mean, and our job is not to say, astaghfirullah, man, look at this guy. You know, the person is a victim. And your job at that moment is to enlighten. Your job at that moment is to empower. Your job at that moment is to educate, if you can. Or at very least to make dua for the person, to supplicate for the person. But not to get in the habit of looking down on people, because people are steeped in ignorance right now. People are steeped, both Muslims as well as non-Muslims, steeped in ignorance. They don't know any better. They don't see the ideological attack that they are under. They don't see it. In the form of commercials, in the form of subliminal messages, in the form of billboards, in the form of music, in the form of movies. They don't see it. They don't see it. There's some people who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them that level of consciousness. And if we are from those people who Allah has given us that level of consciousness, then you have a responsibility to educate. You have a responsibility to educate. And in ending, all right, our obligation as men to our wives, to our children, to our Lord, to our religion, to our communities, as the Khalifa of Allah in the earth, as the leaders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the earth, is to educate. Is to educate. Because the thing that completes us as men is knowledge. The one thing that makes you a man and that completes you as a man is your intellect. Because that is the thing that distinguishes you from an animal. And what you see today is people that have animalistic behavior, beastly behavior. Anytime a woman puts on underwears and gets in front of a camera and does this twerking, whatever they call it, and then puts that on the internet for the world to see it, that is beastly behavior. This is a woman who has been demeaned, has been degraded to such a degree that you have nothing else better to do with your life than to put on a pair of underwears and to show the world how you can move your behind in such a way. SubhanAllah, that's what you have been reduced to? You are nothing more than that. People, when they see you now, they should see how you move your behind instead of the intellect that you have. This is what the women have been reduced to, including Muslim women.